The forum will now hear the voluntary national review from Sierra Leone, and I invite Her Excellency Kenye Barley, Minister of Planning and Economic Development of Sierra Leone, to make a presentation.
Sierra Leone is relentlessly pursuing the SDGs within the framework of the new Sierra Leone Medium-Term National Development Plan 2024 to 2030, framed around the government's Big Five game changers.
Our conducting of this 2024 Voluntary National Review, VNR, demonstrates the government of Sierra Leone's commitment to ensuring that we achieve the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. Our country's SDGs acceleration roadmap prioritizes goals 1, 2, and 10. We have increased the number of SDGs for which we are undertaking an assessment, and this year we have considered 7 goals.
Goal 1, no poverty, and Goal 2, zero hunger.
God don't bless Sierra Leone.
God has blessed Sierra Leone with all the resources in order for us to grow a lot of crops. We have close to 5.4 hectares of land. We have rainfall maybe for 5 to 6 months in a year, and our soils are good. They are supporting a lot of crops to grow. Feed Salon is President Bio's call for Sierra Leone to grow what we eat.
Grow, waiting, we eat.
It is President Bio's call for us to go back to that time when Sierra Leone was growing enough food and was selling to other countries.
This time round, just like how we take education, we don't put them and it go fine. Now I don't come for agriculture. I invite every Sierra Leonean, irrespective of who say it, for say we own food for grow.
Goal 5, gender equality.
The government has instituted significant legislative reforms towards improving gender equality. This included the Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Act of 2022. There has been a significant increase in the percentage of women in governance, with an increase from 12.3% in 2013 to 28.2% in 2023 of female representation in Parliament, and an increase of female representation in ministerial and cabinet positions to over 30%.
Goal 10, reduced inequalities.
We've supported more than 1 million Sierra Leoneans through unconditional cash transfers. This is to help support Sierra Leoneans and to reduce inequalities in terms of SDG 10, to ensuring supporting persons with disabilities, aged, the young, and women by extension. So what we've been doing so far has impacted a lot to reducing inequalities in Sierra Leone.
We are here at the School for the Blind in Kabala, Koinadugu district, to present their copies on the simplified version of the SDGs in Braille to promote accessibility and ensure that no one is left behind in the implementation of SDGs.
Goal 13, climate action.
Whilst the country remains highly vulnerable to climate change, the government is setting up the institutional framework, including the establishment of the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, to increase awareness and respond to the increased risk of climate change.
Goal 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. And 17, partnerships for the goals.
I have witnessed optimism and sustained political will in implementing the SDGs. The successive integration of the goals into the medium-term national development plans and the financing frameworks is a testament to the country's collective will to implement the SDGs, which is fully aligned to the African Union Agenda 2063. With regard to SDG 16, the establishment of the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion is laudable. SDG 17, the country has scaled up cooperation with development partners, including the United Nations.
We work in both the formal and the non-formal court.
We mediate conflicts so that to ensure that people in community, in family, live together as one.
The government will act accordingly towards actions that will lead to sustained poverty reduction and socio-economic transformation of the country.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I stand on all existing protocols, and what I will present now will be an overview, a summary, and reinforcement of the video that you just watched. Sierra Leone is presenting its fourth VNR report. The other three reports focused on different aspects. The first one was progress made in domesticating the goals. The second report looked at key policy and institutional reconfigurations in the national development process. And the third report evaluated the SDG policy and its impact on the welfare of the citizenry. As you heard from the report, the video, the current report is based on the implementation of SDGs 1, 2, 5, 10, 13, 16, and 17. In the process of implementation, it was highly participatory, which included the government institutions, parliament, the UN country team, CSOs, NGOs. And there was a CSO integrated platform that took the lead on local presentation. Also, we ensured that what we were reporting is evidence-based, and the CSOs were out in the field most of the time. The review, it was also based on 3 local reviews, local level reviews conducted in 2022 and 2023. In terms of the time frame, the roadmap, we started the review a bit late, but we met all of the deadlines and we made enough time for consultations. We ensured through the commitments and ownership of the reviews, and all of the reviews were in line with the medium-term national development plan, which encapsulate the 5 big, what we refer to as the big 5 game changers that are central to the plan of Sierra Leone. Game changer 1, Feed Saloon, that's Feed Sierra Leone. Game changer 2, human capital development. Game changer 3, the youth employment scheme. Game changer 4, technology and infrastructure. And game changer 5, the transformation of the public sector architecture. The goals were, the VNRs and the plan were are aligned with the SDGs, and we do have a chart that shows the alignment. It's also aligned with the Africa 63 agenda, the AU 2063 agenda, the Africa we want, and also it's aligned with the Vision 2050 of ECOWAS. On the goals that we reviewed, goal number 1, the highlights of this goal was that the multi-dimensional poverty index indicated a slight decline in poverty, which is a positive indicator. For goal 2, the priority goal 2, zero hunger, there was a general level of increased food insecurity. For goal, oh, okay, you're on the challenges. If we can go back a bit with the slides. That was goal number 2. Can we go back to goal, yeah. To goal number 3, okay. Well, ensuring healthy lives. With that, there has been improvement in maternal mortality from 717 deaths in 2019, to almost halved to 443 deaths per 100,000 live births in 2020, and this figure is still improving. Also, a reduction in under 5 mortality, a reduction in tuberculosis and other communicable diseases. For the goal 4, ensuring inclusive and equitable quality of education, there has been an increase in primary enrollment, an improvement in gender parity, and there has been, through our radical inclusion policy, an inclusion of a number of previously marginalized groups. For goal number 5, achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls, there has been an improvement in the proportion of women, a decrease in the amount of women exposed to sexual and gender-based violence, and an increase in women in political participation, the increase of the number of women in parliament from 12.3% in 2013 to 20.8% in 2022, and also an increase of the number of women in cabinet from about 10% to over 30%. And this has been strengthened by the implementation, the passing, first of all, of the Gender Equality in Women's Empowerment Act, and the commencement of the implementation of this act. For goal 5, a reduction in inequality, there has been an increased amount in in social protection and beneficiaries that are persons living with disabilities. Okay. So with all of the other goals, you will see that there's been an improvement in the Peace Index and justice and the strengthening of institutions, and also in partnerships. What were our challenges? The main challenges were data reporting, the weak private sector, and the fact that the economy is not diversified. Our next steps are to organize a follow-up to the VNR process with the stakeholders, to introduce a technical and steering committee, and organize technical meetings with Statistics Sierra Leone so we can have better data. I thank you all.
I thank the Minister of Planning and Economic Development of Sierra Leone for the presentation. We will now hear comments and questions from states and other participants. I give the floor now to the distinguished representative of Guinea. Minister, you have the floor.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Madam. Guinea would like to thank and congratulate Honduras and Sierra Leone.
Great presentation. I would like to know what was the challenges that Sierra Leone faced when you were elaborating the report. Even though, as I said, that Guinea and Sierra Leone, we have borders, you know, we are like a family. There's a lot of things that you represented that is the same that we have in Guinea. But if you could share, you know, some of the challenges that you faced by elaborating the report. Thank you very much.
I thank the Minister of Guinea for that question. I now give the floor to the representative of the group of NGOs. And I now give the floor to the representative of the group of persons with disabilities.
Madam Chair, Sierra Leone's 4th voluntary national review is being undertaken against the backdrop of a post-election era, the launch of a roadmap for achieving the SDGs by 2030 through the alignment of the goals with the medium-term national framework, economic regression and the negative impacts of climate change. While noting the effort by the government to address inequalities, the country's much celebrated economic gains over the period have regressed significantly. We acknowledge the government's efforts to leave no one behind, including progressive legislations on women's rights and gender equality. However, the most vulnerable in society are still prone to multiple shocks, in addition to dealing with the effects of a fragile context. At-risk groups such as children, women, and persons with disabilities are among those who continue to experience the negative effects of the significant socio-economic challenges. CSOs therefore call on governments to take concrete actions requires to address the hardship for those left behind, to cushion the effects of inadequate health, education, and social safety nets. Strengthening institutions such as local authorities, primary healthcare facilities, justice and security, and social safety measures capable of transforming a fragmented society. Implements legislations geared towards promoting gender equality and the meaningful participation of women, persons with disabilities, and youths in decision-making at all levels. Urgently deliver socio-economic transformation in collaboration with the private sector to identify priority areas for investment based on national needs. It is critical for all ministries, departments, and agencies to take full ownership of the SDGs. Translate the global recognition into a practical result for the people, recognizing our role as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council, in addition to key leadership in the international dialogue for peace building, state building, and the G7. Thank you very much.
I thank the distinguished representative of the group of persons with disabilities. Now give the floor to Her Excellency Kenye Barley, Minister of Planning and Economic Development of Sierra Leone.
I would like to, first of all, thank the representative of Guinea for his question. And as he did point out, that our countries are very similar and they face similar challenges. But you did ask a specific question as to our challenges in the elaboration of the VNR. And we had three specific areas of challenges. One was in relating to the data systems and the actual reporting for the VNR. There was a challenge here because there was a lack of current data to provide a baseline and status updates on the indicators. And then at the same time, there were so many surveys being undertaken by the Central Statistics Agency, Statistics Sierra Leone. So there were limited personnel and there were limited facilities for us to process this data. And also a second area was resources. We received limited resources and we received the resources late. And because these resources were received late, we were a little rushed in doing the processes, and we couldn't do them as extensively as we would have wanted to. And this also relates to the third area, which was timing. We actually did start the process late due to the limited resources. A lot of effort went into this, but there was a lot of pressure put on the technical teams. So when we do it again, the fifth VNR, we will try to ensure that we get the resources earlier and there's less pressure. And then we also work very closely with Statistics Sierra Leone. Also, in relation to the intervention from the civil society, as I did mention, we did work very closely with the civil society. We valued their inputs, and there were specific areas or groups that the representative referred to: women, children, persons with disabilities. We, within the medium-term national development plan, under the human capital development Big Five game changer that I mentioned, did have elaborated strategies that address these three areas. Yes, we need to expand on these areas. We need to strengthen our social protection. We recognize that. One group of people that you didn't include were the aged, and we included those in that group. For the women, they were addressed both in the Big Five, what we refer to the Big Five game changers and enablers. For the Big Five game changers, we do have intervention strategies for women's economic empowerment and women's political empowerment. Then one of the enablers is mainstreaming gender within the overall medium-term development plan. So we've approached this from two fronts, and probably we'll look into approaching the issues of persons with disabilities from both these fronts. But we welcome continued dialogue with civil society in these areas in particular. Thank you.
I thank the Minister of Planning and Economic Development of Sierra Leone.